What is happening, YouTube? It's been a minute since I've made a video. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you've all been taking care of yourselves. And we're just gonna get straight to the point. For those of you that follow me on socials, you'll know that I recently started contest prep for my 2024 season. I will put a little snippet to one of my sides over here of my current physique and how that's looking. And as you keep watching in the video, you'll get a breakdown for my contest prep setup. I'm gonna smash this pomegranate. I'm gonna drink my way and then head to N1 HQ. I'm training with my buddy Kasim today, so we are gonna train. Well, I have chest and back scheduled. He's training some upper, but we'll do some cross play. And yeah, I'll check in with you guys once I get to HQ. I totally forgot to milk out some partials.
So this, because it's got the profile, you're not really going to get much for partials because it's already
length and bias,
right? So like you could, but you'll probably get like 2, you know. Right? Unless you do only the scapular motion, then you could get more.
30 more?
Not 30, more than 2.
42, perfect number. Oh, come on. Oh my God.
Use the chest plate, just move the shoulder. Instead of fighting it, just go back. Right? So instead of like turning this into like a whole body side crunch, like once you get to that sticking point, this is none of this is any more stimulus. It's just extra. So get there and then cool. If you want to continue on, then that would be like just work into your partials, right? Same thing there, like Except here, not only are you fighting the short, but you're also starting to incorporate your obliques and your QL and everything, because you're leveraging it over. And so as you crunch.
So you're saying this at the start of the range of motion or the end of the range of motion? Like, I'm initiating it with lateral flexion?
No.
Or I'm finishing with... Okay.
Because what you're doing is, if you move that further, it keeps getting lighter and lighter and lighter. So because you get stuck, if you crunch, you start making the weight lighter.
Okay.
So like your brain figures these things out without you actually. So it's not like you're intentionally cheating, but your body's finding ways to move the weight. So rather than when you get here, rather than as soon as you start feeling that, if you can't drive down, don't sit here and fight short. Like, even though it's not short, it's the short portion of the rep.
Okay.
Just go back up and then get, a
some
couple of
partials.
these. And that's probably more stimulus than you're getting doing this weird crunchy thingy.
Okay.
Right?
It's not happening. Checking in with you guys post-workout. So I was training at N1 HQ with my buddy Kasim. If you guys are unfamiliar with N1 Education, I definitely recommend you go check them out. I think they're the industry leaders as far as teaching about biomechanics goes. And when I got home, I just smashed some whey. I smashed my creatine and I had some rice cakes. And I got my post-workout meal about to go down right now. Well, I'm about to cook it, so I'm not sure if you're able to see, but if you're able to see, I got some ginger right here. I got some onion. If you want to be fancy, you could add like cilantro to this. And I got some 96 lean, 4% fat ground beef. And this is pretty much my to-go-to dinner most nights. I have some rice going over here in the pot. And I also have this bowl of veg, so it's like literally miscellaneous leaves, some tomatoes, carrot, some lemon juice, and I'm gonna have the rice in here. I'm gonna have 8 ounces of ground beef once it's cooked, and some avocado. I'll show you guys what it looks like, but it's so good. Now, I'm not to the point in prep where I'm weighing things like my veg goes. I'll eventually get to a point to where I am doing that. But as of right now, I'm just mainly tracking bulk items such as fats, carbs, and protein. We're gonna add the ginger, then we're gonna add the onion, and we're gonna let this cook down for a couple minutes. And then we're gonna add the ground beef. So I just added salt, pepper. I'm gonna add some cinnamon. This is one of my to-go-tos when I cook beef, is I add some cinnamon. Not too much. And then I'm gonna add some smoked paprika. Okay. After smoked paprika, just got some dried ground lemon. It's great for or lime. It's great for a citrusy flavor or whenever I cook like Mexican inspired foods. It really brings it together well. And that's it. Just gonna mix this around and then add the beef. Okay, so my rice is nearly done. Nearly done. I'm not sure if you'd be able to see that. It's crispy rice. Let me turn that off. And then my beef is nearly done. I'm not sure if you're able to see that, but that's the final product. And now we just have to add everything together. And this is going to be my third meal for the day. So pretty much how I like to structure my nutrition is just 4 meals with 50 grams of protein. Keeps it super simple. My next meal is like this massive Greek yogurt bowl with protein and berries and some cereal. And that's pretty much going to conclude the rest of today. You are going to see the recap for how I intend to approach my 2024 season, so stay tuned for that. And as always, I appreciate you if you watched this far. Don't forget to like, comment, share, all that good shit, because it helps me out. It makes me want to put these out more. And we'll talk soon, team. As you can see, now I don't particularly use spreadsheets in my day-to-day tracking. For myself, my system, and my clients, we have a fancy app that we use. It's a HawkFit branded app. It pretty much has everything I need in there as far as a database for food tracking goes, training, let's see what else. That's pretty much the 2 things that I would use it for, but it has other tools for my clients as far as like exercise library goes, and whatnot. But I figured this would be the easiest way to sort of give you guys a visual demonstration for how I lay things out, okay? So anyways, obviously the first page is my name, okay? This is client, okay, current weight 183 pounds. So the reality is a contest prep starts before a contest prep starts. And what I mean by that is, if you're a first timer, obviously you want to ensure that progressive training has been taking place for months, if not years on end, before you go through a contest prep. You also want to make sure that you've gone through an actual successful diet and got to a low enough body fat percent. And if you're not a first timer, you know, from the second you step off stage going into your off season, you should already have goals laid out as far as your short term and long term goals when it comes to your training, because your training is the most important thing that's going to allow you to make progressions in your physique, in your body composition. If your training is not progressive, if you're not getting much stronger, then it's probably not a good idea to go through a super aggressive diet, right? I think that's common sense. But the diet before contest prep should be something at the forefront of every competitor's mind, and that really just allows one to set themselves up for success before the contest prep diet starts. So I'll give you an example. Me, myself, personally, in the past, I've always started contest prep around 200 pounds. And I never really considered a pre-diet before going into a prep. This is my first prep that I actually did have a pre-diet before the diet. And I'm starting prep at 183 pounds. So I'm 20 pounds lighter than I would have started prep in the past. And that's going to make it a little bit easier for me to not only achieve that stage conditioning, but also it's going to make it suck a little bit less. And just think about it, like if I have only 30 pounds to lose to achieve stage conditioning, how much easier is that going to be versus coming down from 200 pounds, right? And you could, like in my past prep, I more or less used the same time frame. Like I started prep around like December, January, and I anticipated to step on stage between June all the way to August, and it was a little bit harder coming down being 200 pounds. Now that I'm 183, I feel like it's going to be a little bit easier, especially because after I completed the pre-diet, you know, I ensured that a maintenance period occurred. So I had about like 12 weeks at maintenance to a conservative surplus, and that really helped dissipate what's called diet fatigue, because depending on the intensity and duration of your deficit, that's going to be something that that really prevents you from achieving that big picture goal. And it's really about managing intake and output, and you really want to make sure that you're not in a super aggressive deficit, so much to the point to where it takes away from your training performance, because your training performance is incredibly important for muscle preservation, right? So there's multiple layers of thinking that has to be associated with, okay, this is the deficit that I'm going to induce, and I really have to make sure my training is still staying progressive even though I am in a deficit, and I have to make sure that my lifestyle factors are in line. I'm sleeping enough and the quality of that sleep is high, and I'm also managing my stress, right? Because acute stress is great for energy mobilization, but chronic stress over a long period of time could definitely impact your ability to achieve that true stage conditioning. Speaking from experience, right? And especially like stress around show day, that's something that can significantly impact the cosmetic side of things, right? I've been on both sides of the coin. So anyways, current weight, stage weight, every competitor should consider a pre-diet before they actually start a contest prep. Cool. As far as my current nutrition goes, I'm not in a super aggressive deficit just yet. I will assess once we get to the midpoint of December, but as of right now, my macros are 55 grams of fat, 275 grams of carbs, 200 grams of protein. As far as nutrition guidelines goes, a majority of my food consists of minimally processed, wholesome, micronutrient dense foods, and then I would say about 10% of my total calories is allocated towards processed or unconventional foods. And I'm really ensuring that I'm getting vegetables more or less in every single meal. I'm really ensuring that I'm getting fruits more or less in every single meal. My nutrition is, I think it's super important, especially in a contest prep, to keep your nutrition very simple, because once you get to the point to where you're adding 10 different things in a given meal, 10 plus things in a given meal, that's when you're starting to get into murky water as far as your ability to manage hunger and cravings goes. And coming from personal experience again, and having coached multiple competitors, when most of your food is comprised of sugary, sweet shit, even if it's artificial, that tends to exhibit issues with people's GI. And it could also impact things as far as water retention goes. So I don't have data on this, so if you're looking for data on this, I can't present you with any. I think you could find some about artificial sweeteners impacting the microbiota of our gut, but as far as it being, I don't even think there's any literature on it impacting the cosmetic side of things, but call it bro science, whatever you want. But anyways, nutrition guidelines, cool. Step count guidelines, I'm really just maintaining 6 to 7K steps a day, nothing too crazy. As far as water intake goes, 1 to 2 gallons a day. Fruit veg intake, really staying on top of micronutrients to ensure nutrient minimums is really important. And then contest season, between like A to B, it's like that transition between season A to season B, but I plan to do shows around June to August, so anytime between here to here, my first show of the season may take place. I'm leaning a bit more towards the Hercules because it is a pro amateur show, and it's historically known in the WNBF to be sort of a prestigious show on the East Coast, and it is a pro-am show because it is a pro-am show, so I anticipate the competition to be a little bit bigger. I anticipate it to be a little bit more competitive, which is exciting, so that's why I'm leaning a little bit more towards that. And I do plan to do a couple shows in the INBF, WNBF Federation, and I know there's a OCB show happening in Colorado later this year or in August. Who knows? I may do that. Maybe an NPC show, but as far as first shows go, somewhere around this time frame. And as far as any cardio goes, I'm not doing any cardio. As far as my training frequency goes, I'm training 5 days a week. My current split is a upper, lower, rest, chest and back, arms, lower, rest, repeat. And as far as supplements goes, I am sponsored by Legion Athletics, so they pretty much just take care of me as far as all my supplements goes. And some of these things in the list are also in my multivitamin. So like my ashwagandha, for example, it's in my multivitamin. And as far as beta-alanine, L-theanine, that's also in my pre-workout. I do take creatine monohydrate. I'm taking my fish oil. And as far as my caffeine intake goes, I would put my daily intake to be anywhere from 0 on some days upwards to like 300 milligrams. So nothing too crazy. We really do want to be aware of our caffeine intake as we diet down. And as far as this page goes, this is just where in the past, because I used this spreadsheet in the past, I would also give my clients this spreadsheet in the past before I built my app, but this is pretty much where all the tracking would go. I track the same metrics in my app, so it's weigh-ins, fat intake, carb intake, protein, that spits out total calories, what session it was, total steps, because I'm monitoring expenditure. It's really important because it's one of the ways we can just standardize just the process, I guess, because our activity is related to our NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is the total amount of calories we burn non-related to exercise. It's just one of the components of our metabolism. It's also a component where we could get a lot of energy expenditure through, as opposed to doing conventional cardio and having to be stationary in the machine. You could just simply go on a walk, do some, I guess it could be considered as a low intensity steady state, but anyways, sleep, quality and quantity, stress, soreness, fatigue. And then the thing with weigh-ins is, obviously we don't want to be basing progress off of day-to-day weigh-ins because there's a lot of variables that could influence day-to-day fluctuations. So what we really care about is our weekly average, so all the days added up, divided by 7, and that gives us a more accurate indication of which direction we're moving in. I have a total of 31 weeks. I have 30 pounds to lose. So we are going to be a little bit aggressive in this first leg of contest prep. So this first 15 weeks, we're going to be a little bit aggressive. Once we get to that 15-week point, we will opt for a diet break for about 7 days. We're going to continue with the rest of the diet, and then we will be ready by show day. So if I average a loss of a pound a week, I'll be ready by then. But some weeks I'm going to average a little bit more, and then as we get closer, I may average a little bit less of a loss. So it's just important to give yourself plenty of time to achieve true stage conditioning. The days of like a 12-week prep or a 16-week prep are out of the window, and that may work for some outliers, but it's not likely going to work for the majority when it comes to the goal of getting dick skin lean. This is just me rambling at this point. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and if you like this, like, comment, share, all that good stuff helps me out. Makes me feel good to put out more stuff. And don't forget to follow me on socials if you're not already doing that. And I hope you all have a fantastic day. Maybe we'll do these week to week. It's good for me to check in and just talk about how things are generally going. I am coaching myself, of course, but don't be surprised if you don't get one of these 1 week. Okay? Peace and love. We'll talk soon, team. Bye-bye.